Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Boruto Chapter 65. It's titled Karma Power. And I actually was trying to avoid spoilers for this chapter, so this chapter is news to me, as it most likely is to you guys as well. And there's a couple of topics that I really wanted to cover in this chapter, some new concepts that have just been introduced that we need to talk about. But anyways, the chapter picks up right where it left off last time, where Boruto collapses to the ground, seemingly in pain, and Code is just kind of there watching. And we see that Boruto actually has a hallucination of Momoshiki himself, and both Kawaki and Momoshiki mention that this is kind of going on due to the meds that Boruto is taking, which are the same ones that were given to Naruto from Amato several chapters ago, if you remember. But it becomes quite clear by Momoshiki that essentially these medications are just temporarily stopping the ossification. He compares it to a stopgap measure, and Boruto also notes that this is very similar to when he first received his karma and he was actually able to see a physical manifestation of base Momoshiki, and he proceeds to forcibly take control of Boruto's body, much like he did several times before, against Boro, for example. And this is very interesting to note that it is progressing, because this time he didn't take control because he was low on chakra, which was stated just a couple panels before. Like, it's not because he was low on chakra. Anyways, so Momoshiki takes control of Boruto's body for a little bit, and he throws a Rasengan at Code. So it's pretty clear that although Code is following in Ishigi's footsteps, they're not quite on the same side here. And it is very interesting because we do know that Naruto is on his way. So much like I stated in my last review of the previous chapter, it looks like it's going to be like a 1v1v1, and we're definitely going to talk about that in a second once Naruto actually does show up. Anyways, we jump back to the Hidden Leaf, and we do see that Amato and Sai are having a little exchange of words here. And here Amato's kind of curious because he knows that it doesn't make sense for them to have encountered each other so fast, because Code doesn't have any sensing abilities, so how in the world did he actually end up finding Kawaki? And Sai mentions that it's probably some outer, so who else could it be? Amato states back that he doesn't know any outer that has sensing abilities like this. So anyways, the people in the leaf are kind of starting to deduce that there's a third party here, like Ida, which is giving Code some intel. Now, I thought that Shikamaru would be the one to kind of figure this out, but it looks like Amato's already like one step ahead in this regard. And he's kind of thinking to himself, come on Kawaki, we've gotten this far, don't you muck it up now. So obviously we know that Amato has some hidden agenda here, but this is becoming more and more clear as we move on. Jumping back to the fight, we see that Boroshiki is actually able to produce a massive Rasengan against Code, and we do know that Code is actually more powerful than Momoshiki, but with his limiters he doesn't really stand a chance, so he decides to go and take Kawaki as a hostage. Now, he knows that Boroshiki doesn't really care about Kawaki himself, but he does know that this is the only move that he can really take, as Momoshiki does need him to feed him to the 10 tails, and Boruto doesn't want Kawaki to die, so either way, it would be a smart move to take Kawaki as a hostage. And he goes to take Kawaki with him, which is also something I predicted would happen in my last chapter review. I predicted that he was going to try to take Kawaki, but we do see that Boroshiki kind of steps in. It looks like this is a new ability that he uses. It's instead of the Rasengan, it's the Rasendan. And I don't think this is a mistranslation, as there's an emphasis on the last three letters. And it's also stated under the manga panel that Dan means bullet, right? So this is almost like a Rasen bullet. It shoots very quickly straight through Code's right shoulder, and then he absolutely blitzes Code. So now we have a pretty good understanding about how powerful Code is now, right? Because before, we haven't really seen him too much in action before, but now the more we get to see him here, the better understanding we can kind of have of his power. And something I found kind of funny was that Boroshiki kind of notices his white karma and mentions how it's a dud and he can't even absorb jutsu with it. He's kind of mocking him and making fun of him for it. Meanwhile, Ida's telling him to get out of there as soon as he can because he doesn't really stand a chance. And before Boroshiki can actually manage to snap Kawaki's arm in half, Naruto kind of intercepts and saves him alongside Shikamaru. And obviously, Kawaki's very upset that Naruto's here. He doesn't want him to get hurt. He wants him to be safe. But Naruto, being the Hokage, says, I've got to be here and fight any enemies that threaten my village. Immediately after, Code jumps to taking Shikamaru as his hostage. So he is on the defensive this chapter. He does not want to fight anybody here. Probably not confident that he can take anybody on here, so he just keeps taking hostages. Anyways, he says that if Naruto makes one-sided move, he's gonna end Shikamaru. And Naruto's at a little bit of a standstill here. And upon the arrival of Naruto, Boroshiki's like, you know what, Code? Let's join forces just very briefly, because this Hokage is a nuisance to me as well. So not only does Naruto have to stand still because Shikamaru is being held hostage, but he's also about to be attacked by Boroshiki. So Kawaki tries to intercept, obviously doesn't really do anything. He throws a massive Rasengan, and then we end off the chapter with the Rasengan being absorbed. Now, I thought that this was going to be Naruto's arm, because we did see in the anime him absorb a jutsu with his arm before, his ninja tool arm. But I was like, no, it wouldn't make sense. This is a very powerful jutsu. I don't know if the scientific ninja tool will be able to handle this. And I was right. It was not the scientific ninja tool. We pan around and we see that it was actually Kawaki using his karma seal at the same time as Amado giving his little dialogue on giving Kawaki a karma that's strictly a weapon. And we do see that the karma has spread throughout Kawaki's entire body, and this is a weaponized karma that is specifically for Kawaki. Now this is his own ability, and he doesn't have to worry about getting overtaken by Ishiki. It's like an empty hard drive in a sense. So that's how this chapter leaves off on. Nothing too crazy happened. I feel like a lot of the stuff that happened in this chapter was actually anticipated, and we expected a lot of this stuff to happen. Now, I actually did want to see Naruto do more in this chapter. I did want to see him fight Boroshiki or Code, so we can kind of gauge his power a little bit well, because we've all talked about exactly how powerful we think Naruto is now, but it'd give us a better indication if we actually did get to see him fight, which we didn't really get to see him do in this chapter. But we did get to see a new ability, which I don't recall seeing before, or a variation of the Rasengan. And we did get to see Kawaki's evolved weaponized karma. Usually at this state would be the state where Ishiki's kind of taking control of his body. This seems to be a very close mirror of Boroshiki's karma. So I think in this next chapter we're actually going to see a very interesting fight between Kawaki and Boroshiki, now that they're both utilizing the evolved karmas. So I'm very excited to see how this goes. Narratively speaking, I feel like they're gonna fight somewhat equally, even though since Ishiki is way stronger, Kawaki should dominate this altercation. But it also depends on a couple of other factors as well. And we might also see a fight between Naruto and Code in this next chapter. But realistically, Code seemed pretty defensive, and he didn't really seem like he wanted to fight too much. Even at the very end of the chapter, he's like, no way, that's impossible. You know, what is going on? Honestly, he is the weakest karma out of everybody there. He's got Naruto, Kawaki, Boroshiki. He doesn't even like him. He's just helping him temporarily because he dislikes Naruto more. But anyways, that's basically what I think we're going to see next chapter. Nothing too crazy. Maybe Code escapes, fight between Kawaki and Boroshiki. What do you guys anticipate for the next upcoming chapters? I'm very excited to see what you guys have to say down below. If you guys like more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord server. I'm going to leave the link down below, and definitely subscribe because we're almost at 15,000 subscribers, and I'll catch you in the next one.